Hi, I'm Kirsten from Cox Communications, and welcome to Community Connection. This show highlights local organizations and leaders that contribute to our healthy and vibrant community. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You may only be one person, but we only have one planet. And if we all come together, we can make one a really big number, and that can make a huge difference. Join the Blue Crew today at 1%fortheplanet.org, because Blue needs you.
Hi, I'm Kirsten McLaughlin, Market Vice President for Cox Communications, and this is Community Connection. Today we're speaking with the Business Giving Roundtable. First, we have Judy Hawkins from the Business Giving Roundtable. Welcome, Judy.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here today.
Thanks for the invitation.
And first off, let me just say how proud we are to be, as Cox Communications, a member of Business Giving Roundtable and supporting the great work you all are doing in the community.
Thank you, and thanks back to you for being one of our founding members.
So let's start by telling our viewers about the Business Giving Roundtable and everything that you do in the community.
So the Business Giving Roundtable is an association of local businesses. Right now we're about 40 businesses and growing who really prioritize business giving as part of their business strategy. So they look at ways that they can give back to the community through in-kind donations, through employee volunteerism, through sponsorships, and through other types of business support. And all of our members know that business giving is no longer just a kind and convenient plus. It's really something that employees and customers demand from a business, is knowing that they're involved in the local community.
And what is the vision of the Roundtable?
So the vision of the Roundtable is really to connect businesses so that they can share their strategic approaches to business giving with one another, so they can learn from each other what's working well in terms of nonprofit partnerships and impacts to service communities. So for example, last year we did our giving survey, and in that, just from our members alone, were reported that there were over 18,600 hours of volunteerism from employees and serving over 1,300 local organizations. So the numbers are staggering just from the examples of our own members, and we want to continue to tell that story for more and all of the businesses in the county.
It really is amazing what we can all do when we work together and collaborate. So tell us, how did the Business Giving Roundtable come to be in our community?
So it started with the inspiration of a handful of very generous philanthropic business executives who wanted to inspire other businesses who might not yet have formal or established programs to begin to look at ways to give back. And we are supported by the Santa Barbara Foundation administratively, so they allow us to have a place and space and support to get these businesses together. So the idea was really to start conversations.
And as we wrap up, how do people get involved and learn more?
Businesses can learn more by going to our website at the santabarbarafoundation.org/BGR. You can also come to or be invited to a member guest event and experience the roundtable conversations about business giving for yourself.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for that great overview. I know next up we have a bunch of stories from our Business Giving Roundtable members. So thanks for being here today, Judy.
Thanks so much for the invitation, Kirsten.
And thank you. Stay tuned for more community connection and stories about Business Giving Roundtable. Cox Communications wants to keep you informed.
We've got hope and we've got resources.
Don't be a cyberbully yourself.
So stay informed with Community Connection. Welcome back to Community Connection. Today we're talking with members of the Business Giving Roundtable. Next up we have Linda LeBrock from the Pacific Coast Business Times and Rich Block from the Santa Barbara Zoo. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thanks for being here. Linda, let's start with you. Tell us a little bit about the Pacific Coast Business Times partnership with the zoo.
Well, the Business Times has a strong philanthropic part of our business. We do a lot of media sponsorships for various economic forecasts and nonprofits and other community organizations. And one that we had been doing some media sponsorships with was the zoo. And we had a great meeting with with Henry Dubroff, the owner and founder of the Business Times, and Rich and his marketing team, and we came up with this idea of adopting through the existing foster feeder program, Beauregard, the Channel Islands fox, and that sort of led to a string of events and a visit with Beau and some great photographs, and it just turned into a great joint marketing campaign and also a way to talk about what's going on at the zoo in terms of their conservation programs and so forth.
Rich, can you tell us a little bit more about how this partnership has really helped the zoo and helped with your outreach and education?
Well, it helps in quite a number of ways. And one was that the zoo really wanted to position itself as a great partner for businesses. And so we've worked with the Pacific Coast Business Times for years because through advertising and other promotions, because they're reaching an audience that's important to us. This is a business audience. These are people that really know kind of how the community operates. And we wanted to position the zoo with that group of people so that they would really see different dimensions to the zoo. And the big bonus was when they decided to run with Beau, it gave us an outlet to an aspect of our work that a lot of people really don't see very often, and that's the conservation work that we do. And so by highlighting Beau, they gave us an opportunity to really go back and showcase work that really began for us back in 1999 when we got our first foxes. And that really was the year that the recovery program began for the island foxes. So it really was absolutely ideal, and at this point in time to be celebrating Beau is a moment in kind of conservation history where the Fish and Wildlife Service is on the verge of delisting the island foxes.
Wow.
So it's really exciting. They couldn't have timed it better, and they couldn't have picked a more photogenic animal.
Well, Linda, I think that Rich might have previewed your answer. I'm not sure, but tell us what you're most proud of through this partnership.
Well, that in particular, the highlighting the conservation program and the fact that those animals are being delisted and that we could showcase that was huge. But from a company standpoint, I mean, yes, it was fun to market and we got a lot out of it, but really for us, it was what it did for the whole office, what it did for the whole staff. We've gone to visit Beau twice now, and we got to go into his little habitat and have an experience with him, and it was so exciting and thrilling for the whole team, and we just had so much fun with it. It was just the best sort of morale booster, and which kind of reiterates, I feel, another important component of philanthropy for businesses is what that does for your employees, what that does for your staff. Because they were so excited and it was fun and they understand the conservation program and they felt like they all had a hand in that. They all got to participate in that.
Right.
So that was really remarkable. So that piece of it, and then also they got to participate in the creative part. So that was very exciting and a big motivating piece too.
So tell our viewers what's next in this partnership or with Beau.
The island.
Oh gosh, yeah. So we just had our second visit with Beau, and we had some newer staff, especially on the news team side, who hadn't got to meet him, and they got to go and meet him and hear about that. And we have talked about going out to. That's the next thing to schedule, is to go out to the island and do some restoration project. I'm not sure what they have in mind for us, but
we're going to
so
put them to work.
volunteerism project.
They're going to be working. So it's very exciting.
Which also goes back to what you were saying about getting employees involved and volunteer opportunities, as well as the great outreach that a partnership like this affords to both of your organizations.
Yeah, and I think in our case, we're, as a newspaper, that's a unique business opportunity to showcase what's going on at the zoo and furthering that message, I think. So we have kind of a multi-pronged benefit to this, and that's very satisfying for us as well, knowing that we can get the word out about that.
Right. So as we wrap up today, any final thoughts for our viewers about either your particular partnership or business giving in this community generally?
Well, the thing that we've really enjoyed about this partnership is we want to make sure that when we work with someone that they really do realize a full range of benefits of that partnership. And Pacific Coast Business Times has been a model for taking that partnership and literally making it fit in all dimensions of their business. And for us, by reaching out with, particularly with Bo at this time, it's terrific because it allows us to highlight, like I mentioned, a less visible aspect of the very important work that we do.
Well, congratulations to you both, and thanks for joining us here today.
Thank you
Our
very
pleasure.
much.
We'll be back with more community connection and more Business Giving Roundtable. Stay tuned. Cox Communications wants to keep you informed.
We've got hope and we've got resources.
Don't be a cyberbully yourself.
So stay informed with Community Connection. Welcome back to Community Connection. Today we're continuing our conversation with the Business Giving Roundtable. Up next we have Michelle Apodaca from Deckers and Michael Baker from the United Boys and Girls Club. Welcome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you both for being here today.
Thanks for inviting us.
Michelle, why don't we start with you telling us a little bit about your partnership with the Boys and Girls Club and how it fits into your business giving strategy.
Our business giving strategy really is focused on impacting the youth in our community and building those key relationships with organizations that are making significant impact. So United Boys and Girls Club actually fits in really well. Our CEO, Angel Martinez, former now CEO, he just retired, was a Boys Club member. And so that link to United Boys and Girls Club has fostered the relationship, I think, even more. We've been supporting for quite some time, but I think that's in line with our strategy.
So Michael, tell us a little bit about the partnership and how you and Deckers work together to support all the kids that come through the clubs.
Well, Deckers is a great example of being just a wonderful corporate citizen. They've helped us on many different levels. One of the major things that we just launched, we have an employee recognition program that we do. Employee of the month, it's only eligible for our part-time employees. And Deckers, thank you, Michelle.
You're welcome.
Has given us a certificate to give to each one of those recipients every month to get a nice brand new pair of shoes from Deckers, which is a nice little perk for them.
Right.
In addition to that, I mean, just being obviously a huge philanthropic investor in the Boys and Girls Clubs, giving us the support that allows us to reach more kids more often with deeper impact. And one of the major events that we do is actually on the Deckers property. In October of every year, we have our annual gala. So mark your calendars for that. That's a big one, and it's at the Rotunda. Just a beautiful, I mean, you can't beat that venue. It's a beautiful venue.
Absolutely. So how do you know and measure how well the partnership is working for each of your organizations?
You want to take that one?
I'll take it first. Yeah, from a donor standpoint, trust and open communication is key for us. And I think we have built that relationship and are still continuing to build that relationship. But the alignment of our mission, changing lives and starting with the kids, really to impact our community, I think we know it's working. We're making changes.
I know from our perspective that the impact that Deckers has had on us, there's one of those things that I mean, I know you're asking about measurable, but there's one thing that's really that you can't measure that is huge, and that's the fact that having a company like Deckers invest in the Boys and Girls Clubs, saying that they believe in what we do, that it shows other businesses the other businesses then step up and say we believe in it as well. It's obviously a good investment. If a company like Deckers, as well respected as it is standing behind an organization like ours, more people fall in line. We have seen an increase in that. We've seen an increase in our donations, certainly since Deckers been involved with us. But they've been, again, like I said, just a tremendous supporter.
So how do you share the story about your partnership and all the impacts you have for each child coming through the Boys and Girls Club?
I'll take that one. Sure.
Please
Okay.
do.
Yeah. So one of the things that I like to try to do, and I pride myself on it. I usually have my cell phone on me almost all the time, and there's actual moments where I'll take photos and send them to key donors and say, this is an example of what your money is making a difference. It's a visual, instant gratification, showing them here's a child that came to the Boys and Girls Club as a result of your support, and we directly link to that individual. And the responses I get back from folks is like, nobody does that. That's so powerful to actually see it. And then I tell them, share it with your whole team. You just need to, a picture, as you know, it just does so much for the organization. So
That's fantastic. How about within Deckers and your employees and within
That's a great
that
question.
community?
Recently, and we try to do this annually, have a nonprofit fair, if you will. So we invite different nonprofits in to expose our employee base to different organizations in the community and try to actively get them volunteering with these organizations, and or maybe it's just educating them of what's going on in the community. But we recently had Michael, we highlighted United Boys and Girls Club, had him come in and talk, and then afterward he was available with his team for our team to be able to engage and ask what opportunities were open, and I think it was well received.
It was, and I think Michelle is really being modest about this because what an incredible opportunity that was. 400 employees, was it roughly?
Yeah.
In the rotunda, it was packed. And I got to get up there and talk to him about not only Boys and Girls, but the importance of getting involved in nonprofits. And there were many other nonprofits that were out there, not just the Boys and Girls Clubs. And that's just a great example of Deckers supporting not just us, but other nonprofits. There's so many nonprofits that they support, and it makes a difference. But there's a lot of them that you've never heard of them before.
Right.
They're critically needed in the community. Most people have heard of Boys and Girls Clubs. They know what we do. But there's many nonprofits who are doing great work that if it wasn't for the investment of companies like Deckers, they wouldn't be able to even get off the ground.
Very well said. Well, as we wrap up, thank you both so much for being here today. And I'll put a personal plug in for Deckers and for the work you're doing with the Boys and Girls Club, because Cox is a big supporter as well.
Yes.
And we love working with you both. So thank you for
Thanks,
everything
Kristen.
you do in the community.
Thank you.
And thank you. Stay tuned for more about the Business Giving Roundtable on Community Connection.
You may only be one person, but we only have one planet. And if we all come together, we can make one a really big number, and that can make a huge difference. Join the Blue Crew today at 1%fortheplanet.org, because Blue needs you.
Welcome back to Community Connection and our continued conversation about the Business Giving Roundtable. Next up, we have Beth Cardi from Venico and Chelsea Duffy from Partners in Education. Welcome, ladies.
Thank you. We're excited to be here.
Thanks for being here. Beth, why don't we start with you? Tell us a little bit about Venico's business giving strategy and your partnerships in the community.
Certainly. Well, back in the very early days of Venico, the founder, Tim Marcus, had determined that philanthropy was going to be part of his business model. And he didn't really have a product to sell, and he didn't have a customer base to expand. He just really wanted to do it for the reason that he believed it was the right thing to do. And education was the center point of that effort. He was raised by two public school teachers, and he just really believed in the power of education, and especially in advancing him to his considerable success. And education is still that very centerpiece of our giving strategy. And we've, of course, added and streamlined policies and procedures and expanded to include health and human services. But we believe Partners in Education is such a great example of exactly the kind of organization we like to support. It's well run, and it meets a compelling need in a really innovative way. And that accounts for our enduring partnership for so many years now.
So Chelsea, tell us a little bit about that partnership.
Well, it's existed for over 15 years, and Venico really gets what we're all about. We're about preparing students for whatever is next. And I don't think there's any other partner in the community that gets how important it is to prepare students for what's next in the workforce than the business sector. And Venico has been one of our biggest champions in that forum. So they've been with us through all of our different programming, whether it's Computers for Families, where we're giving refurbished computers to students who don't have them, or our volunteer program, where we're matching volunteers with teacher and school needs, or our internship program, where students are getting paid work experience in fields that they're interested in. So Venico has been involved, whether employees are volunteering for those requests at school sites, coming out to career days and speaking about career options, hiring interns, or being one of our founding partners with the Computers for Families endowment campaign back in 2000. So it's really spanned a long period of time and allowed us to be the resource that we are now.
That's fantastic. So why is it so important for businesses to give back in the community, Mary Beth?
Well, I think that's one of the primary functions of the Business Giving Roundtable. It gives businesses both a place at the table and tremendous ideas about how to work together with the nonprofit community using whatever their skill sets might be. And it is much more than just writing a check. There's board participation, the value of volunteerism, there's in-kind contributions, and so many other ways to engage and to help with that vibrant sector.
Chelsea, as we wrap up, any final thoughts for our viewers about either partners in education or about how you collaborate with your partners in the community?
Well, it sounds cliche, but we're all in this together, and I think that businesses that give back, they understand that our workforce is coming around the bend sooner than we think. These are the students that are going to be running our businesses and nonprofits, and we need to prepare them. It's a responsibility that we all have in our community to play a role and pick up a stake, and so we're proud to work alongside the business sector as they do this in this effort.
Well, thank you both for being here today and sharing your great partnership with our viewers.
Thank you, Kristen.
Thank you.
And stay tuned for more stories about Business Giving Roundtable here on Community Connection. Cox Communications wants to keep you informed.
We've got hope and we've got resources.
Don't be a cyberbully yourself.
So stay informed with Community Connection. Welcome back to Community Connection and our continuing conversation about the Business Giving Roundtable. Next up, we have Michelle Arntz from Recipes Organic Bakery and Ellen Damron from Angels Foster Care. Thank you both for being here.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Michelle, why don't we start with you, and why don't you tell us a little bit about the bakery's giving strategy and how you play in the community?
You know, Recipes Bakery has always had a strategy where we've wanted to give back, but I need to be honest and tell you that when we first opened about 4.5 years ago, we didn't have a plan in place. We just sort of did things kind of spontaneously or randomly, and we weren't as organized as we could have been. And then with my contact with the Business Giving Roundtable, it's helped us put our strategy into a more organized process, which means we're giving more and it's more efficient. And so it's been great. And we focus in our bakery, our staff has chosen to focus on children's issues. And one of our most important partners in the nonprofit world is Angels Foster Care, which is why Ellen's here with me today.
So Ellen, can you tell us a little bit about your partnership with Recipes?
Sure. Well, we've worked with Recipes for a couple of years now, and they have done several things for us. They devote a space in the bakery to promote Angels, which includes like a poster and brochures. They also co-sponsor all of our fundraising events and sometimes help us source materials. And then they also donate 10% of their catering revenue to Angels every year.
Oh, wow. And how has this partnership paid off for both the bakery and for Angels?
As far as the bakery goes, it's so fun to have the staff involved in choosing who's getting our support. And so quarterly we meet as a staff and talk about the nonprofits that have requested assistance from us. And we help a lot of the local schools, and we also do some training with high school kids that are getting ready to graduate that need some training for job experience and other things like that. And so it's been really fantastic for the staff, and it's benefited all of us to see this, you know, happening. And as far as working with Angels goes, what a pleasure. You know, people that are taking care of our youngest foster children and doing such an amazing job. And One of the big things that's been a big help is on Saturdays, we're right across the street from the Saturday Farmers Market. So I thought, there's 1,000 people coming through here on a Saturday. And so Ellen was so fantastic. She designed a poster and a brochure holder, and we have a special place in the bakery where it's displayed, and the people that come in, it's front and center. And it's been a great way to promote finding good families to take these little babies.
That's great. And Ellen, in our final moment, can you tell us a little bit about what it's meant to have the bakery partner with you?
You know, I think the partnerships worked so well because the recipe staff really, they understand what we do at Angels. You know, our mission is to work with foster infant, toddlers, and babies and find safe and loving homes for them, and with Angels foster families in Santa Barbara County. And they understand that, so they've really helped us with outreach and fundraising, and it's been a great team.
High fives, partner.
What a great story. Thank you both for being here today to share your partnership, and good luck. Keep up the great work.
Thank you for having us.
Stay tuned for more stories from the Business Giving Roundtable here on Community Connection.
You may only be one person, but we only have one planet. And if we all come together, we can make one a really big number, and that can make a huge difference. Join the Blue Crew today at 1%fortheplanet.org, because Blue needs you.
Welcome back to Community Connection and our conversation about the Business Giving Roundtable. Up next, we have Janica Rufus from Montecito Bank and Trust and Paul Didier from United Way of Santa Barbara. Welcome to you both.
Thank you. Wonderful to be here.
Thanks for being here. Janet, why don't we start? The bank is so involved in the community and business giving. Why do you do what you do?
Well, the bank's mission and philosophy is to make the communities we serve better places to live and work. And what better way to do that than through our corporate philanthropy?
That's fantastic. And can you both tell us a little bit about the partnership between the bank and United Way?
We would be glad to do that. We've been in partnership for as long as I've been in the bank, and I know you've been with the bank in partnership before I ever came.
Yeah.
But maybe you can talk a little bit about what that feels like.
Well, from our side, what we really like about it is kind of the growth, just like when you're operating a program for people in need, to see improvement in the clients over time. And what we've seen is when I started with the bank before Janet arrived, it was very much the typical corporate type involvement with, say, a corporate gift or a small amount of employee engagement. And what's happened since Janet's come is the level of engagement with employees goes up every year. The engagement even with some of the clients of the bank who want to find an easy, comfortable way to plug into community involvement, that's also available. And then the partnerships with other nonprofits that we get introduced to, that we always have thought, gee, wouldn't it be great if we could someday do something that's an arts component or something, and then to find a partner who goes, hey, I can make these things happen. And so that's the best kind of partnership. It gets better every single year, and everyone benefits, every single participant and all the clients.
So speaking of those other partners, I know you all have a partnership with the Music Academy of the West. In our final moment or so, can you tell our viewers a little bit about that program?
Yeah, we'd love to. I wish Scott Reed were here so we could include him, because he's the biggest supporter of this. Several years ago, Scott came to us and asked Montecito Bank and Trust to do a partnership, a corporation sponsorship. We agreed to do that, and one of the gifts they wanted to give us was a party or something for our clients. And we decided we'd rather do something for the kids in the community to engage them with the Music Academy. So called Paul, we got it together, and now we do Up Close and Musical, and we're going to be in our 4th year of Up Close and Musical, and it's just the most extraordinary experience.
That's amazing. Any final thoughts on business giving in our community as we wrap up the show?
Speaking from my side, with ourselves and all the organization, the charities we work with, looking at programming, I would say the thought for a business to think about, where do you want to make an impact? Go deeper and longer, as opposed to spreading the jelly really thin across gazillion things and only going a 1/4 inch deep.
That is great advice.
I would say, just to add to that, I think from company's perspective, don't be afraid to try something different. Look outside of your organization. Your employees will benefit tremendously from allowing them the opportunity to give back.
Thank you both for being here today and sharing your amazing stories. And more importantly, thank you for everything you're doing in the community.
Glad to do it.
And thank you. Until next time, this is Community Connection.